Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. In this video, we will talk about Excel interview preparation. What are the important concepts? Then we will talk about how to crack the job related to Excel. Then we will talk about the important sections in Microsoft Excel, how to approach these sections. Then we will talk about the concepts which are there inside these sections, which are the concepts which are really asked by all the interviewers, then how to study these concepts, and finally the application of these Excel concepts, because it is very important for you to understand in practical manner instead of just theoretically grasp all the things. So we will take step by step, understand all these concepts in this video. Then please understand this and stay tuned till the end. So our first concept in this video would be VLookup function. What is VLookup? What are the benefits of using VLookup? And finally talking about the limitations of VLookup. So when we talk about limitations, then we will talk about the alternatives of VLookup. So all these concepts will be talked about. I will use one practical example so that you can understand how to implement VLookup. So first of all, VLookup function. When we have to use VLookup? Use VLookup when you need to find things in a table or a range by row. For example, look up a price of an automotive part by the part number, or find an employee name based on their employee ID. So for example, you have two tables. One table you are having employee details with all the names, salaries and everything. Another table is having the sales part. So for each and every employee, the sales part is there. So how will you have the sales for each and every employee name that is there in the details? So for that you can use VLookup. How to use that, I will show you. So first of all, let me show you the function. So there are four important functions. So VLookup is the function where you want to use what do you want to look up. So that is point number one. Second is where you want to look for it. This is second argument. Third argument is number column in the range containing the value to return. So that will be the number. And finally, if you have to return approximate or exact match, so for that you can indicate 0 or 1 or false or true. So that is fourth argument. So these are the four arguments which are really important in VLookup. So this is the formula. This is how Excel shows. Alright, so now we have understood the theory of VLookup. Now we would like to implement this in practical scenario. So for example, we have three tables. One is product table, where you are having all the product IDs versus all the product names, categories, what is the cost of that product and price of the product. Then there is one more table, stores. What is the store ID, store name, store city, store location, store open date. And finally, there is one master sales table where we are having all the sales data as per the date. So all the invoice dates are there. What is the store ID, product ID and number of units sold, right? So now what we have to do is we have to fetch all the stores, store names, location, then product name, product category for each and every record, for each and every sales ID, right? So now we have store ID, we have product ID. So for example, if I talk about store ID, we can fetch this from the store master. We have store ID. In front of that, we have store name, store city, store location. We can fetch all these columns for these particular records. Let's see how we do that. For example, I name this as store name, then this as store location. Right now, our objective would be to get all the details. For example, if I do it manually for store ID 24, if I just drill down, this is the store ID 24, I should get Maven Toys Aguas Celestes 1, right? So this is the store name, this is the store city, and this is the store location. So we have to fetch all these three things over here, but we can't do this for each and every record because we are having roughly, like, it's more than 8 lakh records, right? So we can't do it manually for each and every record. For this we have VLookup. So for store name we will use equal to VLookup, right? If you see the formula, first argument is lookup value. So which value you have to look in that particular table. For example, here we have to fetch through store ID, so lookup value would be 24, right? So now we have the lookup value. Now comma, second argument is table array through which we are fetching this data. So I'll go to store table and I have to select this and comma. Now we are having column index number. So which column has my answers? So I have to fetch store name. So this is my second column from the selected table. So first column would be store ID, second column would be store name. So it will be 2 comma, and is it approximate match or is it exact match? So it is exact match. False and bracket closed and enter. See, this is the power or magic of VLookup. So now what you have to do is you have to just expand and have all the details, values for each and every record. But before that, we have to create or fix the cells. For example, C column will remain fixed, so I can use $sign for this. I'll explain the purpose of dollar in my next question, right? And here also I have to fix this particular table. So what I can do is I can use function F4, right? Now I can drag this till the bottom. I'll just double click over here and it will be computed for each and every record. Perfect. See, this is so easy and it is not at all time consuming. Otherwise, if you do it manually, it will take ages to do. Similarly, I can fetch first store city, then I will fetch store location. Store city would be VLookup, again like this. Column would be third, 0. 0 is for false, exact match. Again, I can double click this to populate the values for each and every record. See, now the issue is you can see there is NA. So what wrong I did? I didn't fix my cells. So here, if you see in my previous column, I fixed it, right, using $sign. Now what actually is happening is if I am expanding this, here you can see my table name, table references have changed, shifted one row below. So this is not right, because if you are shifting your records, then you might miss some of the records in this. So what I have to do is I'll just delete this, and again I have to fix them. Right, now I have fixed it. I can fix this as well. Now if you expand this, it will be perfect. Similarly, in store location, what I have to do is I can just copy this formula, Control C and Control V. Right, now I have to change just the column number, which is index column. So this will be 4 instead of 3. Right, so you don't have to change anything apart from index number. You just changed it from 3rd to 4th and my values are coming. This is so simple, right? Everything is coming perfectly. Now finally, I just want to have product name also. So this, for product name, I have to fetch it through product ID and product master table, right? Similarly, I will use VLookup for product ID, comma, going to products master table, comma 2, comma 0 and closed. Similarly, I will just fix them. Function F4, perfect. Now I will just expand them. Similarly, product category, I'll just copy the formula, change the index number. Is this the product category? Yes. Perfect. So now we have understood how we can use VLOOKUP functions to get all the values as per the desired outcome. So this is very useful trick. If you don't know VLOOKUP, it is important for you to understand the logic behind it so that you can use them to work on complex problems. Now coming to the second important question, that is how to use conditional formatting. First of all, what is conditional formatting and what is the purpose of it? So conditional formatting, it makes it easy to highlight certain values or make particular cells easy to identify. So it is very important to understand the data, right? This changes the appearance of the cell range based on the condition or criteria that you have fixed. Third, you can use conditional formatting to highlight cells that contains value which meet a certain condition. So it is always about conditions or criteria that you are applying. So that is why the name is conditional formatting. Or you can format a whole cell range and vary the exact format as the value of each cell varies, right? So these are the applications for conditional formatting. It also allows you to automatically apply formatting colors, icons, data bars. So this I will show you in the Excel itself. So this is how it do in the Excel. For example, you have this table from January till December for average high low temperatures. You have the figures, what is the high and low. So if you want to see what is the color, like when it is high, when it is low, so using the color you can automatically or instantly see this is my highest red part and these are the lowest, right? Just by seeing. So this is the use or power of conditional formatting. All right, as you can see the products master table in the screen right now, what you have to do is we have to use the conditional formatting. So what we can do is we can just format the product column like pricing and cost column according to the pricing, according to the values, or which are my categories, top performing, bottom performing. So before that I just want to show you one thing. Right now this particular data, it is not clean. For example, right now this column product price, you can see this data type is general, so it is my dollar sign, but if I want to multiply it by 5, let's say, so it won't show me the value. It is not in the desired format. So what we have to do is we can just replace dollar sign. First of all, control F, replace, find what dollar, replace with the blank, replace all, right? So what it will do is it will replace all the dollar signs with the blank, right? Some conditional formatting is applied. Let me just clean that for the time being. Clear rules from entire sheet, right? Perfect. So now my dollar sign is removed. What I have to do is I'll just select these two columns. I just want to go to format cells. So this should be my currency and the symbol should be dollars, right? So let's say for the timing I take dollar United States, right? So now it is in the representative format. You can see the value is populated now. If I have to multiply it by any number, divide, sum, or do any mathematical operation, now you can do that, right? So now if you want to see the analysis, see how your pricing is for each and every product, so what I'll do is I'll select the product price column, go to conditional formatting. I can select this color scales. There are multiple options. If you want to highlight cells according to one particular value, if you want to highlight only those records which are whose prices are greater than, let's say, $50, you can do that. You can do top to bottom percentage, all those things. You can use data bars. Let's say I use color scales of this one, red, yellow, green color scale. What it will show me. So this is showing me yellow is in between, green is the lowest almost, right, and red is the highest, like towards the highest values. So here how you can represent this, for example, if I just sort this product cost from, let's say, largest to smallest, now it will show me what is the pricing. So if pricing is also consistent with like highest is red and then lowest is green, then it is fine. But then if there are some anomaly, for example this one, this record, you can see it is cost is somewhat low, somewhere 8.99, but price is high, so the margin will be definitely high. Margin will be 24.99 minus 8.99, that is $16. So $16 you are saving for this particular product. But there are so many applications for conditional formatting. This is just one of them. For example, I just want to highlight the costs which are between $5 to $10. So I'll just select this column, I'll go to conditional formatting, I'll highlight cells between, this should be 5 and this should be 10, and I want to highlight them with green fill and dark green text. Okay, so it should be equal to 5 equal to 10, right? Okay, so now you can see whatever is there between 5 to 10, it will be green highlighted. These are my records, right? So this is how you can use. For example, if you want to populate this for the sales, right now there is no sales in this particular sheet, or you can say tab. Sales would be in this particular table. We can use conditional formatting for what is my sales. For example, right now I'm getting number of units, right? You can populate the product price, and then you can have sales. Sales will be equal to number of units sold multiplied by the product price, right? So this is how you can get the sales, and then you can apply the conditional formatting on the sales column. All right, I hope you understood the conditional formatting part. In this, there are many other ways you can do. You can use one more thing. Let me just show you bar chart as well. In data bars, I'll just click, let's say, this blue dot bar. So this will show me which is the highest and then how it is going down. So you can see the highest one is Lego bricks with $34.99, then Play-Doh, then it is going down. The lowest one is Play-Doh can for $1.99. So this is how you can represent your data. Now, third very important question or concept that can be asked by the interviewer is how you can delete the duplicates in a column or a table. So there are multiple ways of deleting the duplicates. So that is what I will show you here. So find and remove the duplicates. So as I said, there are two ways of deleting, right? First is conditional formatting. As we have discussed previously, what is conditional formatting? In this, there is one option in highlight cells rule, and there is the delete duplicate value, right? So you can use this to highlight the duplicate values and delete them. Second option is there is a function or feature, you can say remove duplicate. In the data tab, you go to remove duplicates, and then automatically the selected part, whatever is a duplicate, it will be deleted automatically. Alright, so as we discussed, there are two ways of deleting the duplicates. So let me just walk you through both the formulas. First of all, I'll just use conditional formatting. For conditional formatting, I just need to select the column which I need to see if there is any duplicate, right? I'll click the conditional formatting, go to highlight cells rules, go to duplicate values, right? So once I select the duplicate values, it will show me by which color you want to show. Let me just show with the light red fill. I'll click OK. I can see these are my duplicates. In the overall table, I can see these are duplicates. As you can see, this table, this column, I mean this particular row is same as this row, right? Again, this row is same as this row. This row is same as this row. This row is same as this row. So now you know that these are the duplicates, and you can just select and delete them. For example, these are the duplicates. You can just click Control and minus. So these records will be deleted. So this is one step. So there is another way. Another way would be using the functionality which is already there in Excel sheet. So that would be, I'll just do Control Z so that I can have the duplicate values right now. All right, I'll just do it once again. Perfect. So now we have the raw data. I'll go to insert. No, I'll go to data tab. You can see this is the data tab. Click here, go to the data tools. In data tools there is one symbol of remove duplicates. So I'll just click on remove duplicates. Then the overall table is selected. I can unselect all as well. I can select all also, so it will be fine. Currently I'll just unselect all. I just want to see which are my store names which are duplicated. I'll just select this column. I'll click OK. So automatically Excel will delete 4 duplicate values found and removed. 50 unique values remain. Right, if you see downwards as well, now I have data till 50th record. The 51 to 54 records, 4 records are deleted. Right, so this is how you can delete the duplicates. Now coming to the fourth concept, which is very important. This is a definite question asked by the interviews to the beginner level data analyst: how to use pivot tables. See, everyone knows pivot table, everyone has heard about pivot table, but what is the purpose and applications of pivot table is a critical thing. You need to understand what all things you can do using pivot tables. So first is pivot table. It is a powerful tool to calculate, summarize, and analyze data that lets you see comparisons, patterns, and trends in your data. So this is really helpful to, summarize overall data to see what exactly is happening in the system, and you can, make actions or you can take decisions using that particular data. Pivot tables work a little bit differently depending on what platform you're using to run Excel. It allows you to transform columns into rows or rows into columns. This is known as pivoting. So this is how the name pivot table arose. So you can transform column to rows or rows to column. This is a very important feature. Because pivot tables summarize data, they can be used to find unique values in a table column. So for example, there are multiple records and you want to summarize on that uniqueness. So for example, I have 100 records of sales data with categories, but definitely there would be 5 or 10 categories. They would be repeating itself. So if you summarize them or if you use pivot, you can see the category wise sales or number of units sold. Expanding and collapsing levels of data to focus your results and drilling down to details from the summary data for areas of interest to you. This is a very powerful feature. You can drill down and go to the lowest level as possible. Subtotaling is also possible. Aggregating numeric data is also possible. Summarizing data by categories and subcategories, creating custom calculations and formulas. So overall, this is a very powerful tool to analyze your data. Now we will talk about the practical aspect of it. As you can see here, there is a sales data, right? This will be the raw data that you will get in the Excel, right? And there is a corresponding pivot table. So this is how pivot table looks like. So now you have table where you have sales data for each and every year, categories there, product is there, sales is there, rating is there. Can you tell me what is the category wise sales from this particular sales data? No, you can't, because you have to see you can have to filter from each and every category. For example, you want to see what is my accessories sales. So here, where is my accessories? This is the accessories, this is accessories, this is accessories. There may be multiple rows like this, right? So here, this is the summarized version where you can see accessories sum of sales is 68,400, and in this subcategories wise also you can see the sales. This is very useful. So once you understand how to use this, you can analyze any data. Alright, so as we discussed in the theory, pivot tables are very important for you to understand. It will summarize all the data at one go. You can analyze all the things very easily. For example, in this table you have the sales data, you have sales ID, all the dates, store ID, product, then store name we have fetched through VLookup. Store city is there, location is there, product name is there, category is there, and finally the sales is there, multiplying the product price by the number of units sold. Alright, so now for example, I want to see what is my sales category wise. So for example, I have how many categories? I have 5 categories: art and crafts, electronics, games, sports and outdoors, toys. Now if I ask you what is my category wise sales, so what you can do is I can just unfilter all and I can just filter one and see what is my sales and do it again for each and every category. Or we can use pivot. For pivot, what we have to do is I'll select all the, like full table, go to insert tab and select pivot table. Once I select pivot table, it will ask me to choose where you want pivot table to be placed. I can select new worksheet and click OK. Once you click OK, it will read the data and it will show me the new sheet where I can see the pivot. So this is the pivot table where I can build the report. So right side you can have see pivot fields are there. So all the fields from the table are there. I can drag each and every field in respectable areas. There are 4 areas: filters, columns, rows and values. So for example, I want to see category wise sales, right? So what I'll do is I'll just search category and select in rows. It will show me each and every row unique. This will be unique. So I can see 5 records are there, 5 categories are there. Again, sales for each and every category, I'll just drag the sales part in the values. So it is very easy. You can see what is my category wise sales. Again, if you want to see number of units sold, quantity, you can say, I can just drag units as well in the value column. You will have 2 columns now. So one is number of units sold and second is what is the sum of sales. So this is very important in pivot. If you want to understand in depth, I have created one more video full concentrated on pivot tables, how to create pivot tables, charts and all the calculated fields. So that is there. You need to understand everything in pivot. Now coming to the 5th concept, which is a favorite for all the interviewers. What is the difference between absolute and relative cell reference? Is there any difference? What exactly do you mean by these and what is the purpose? So first of all, what is relative reference? It is by default, all cell references are relative reference. For example, you have this data, right? For each item, there is a unit price and then quantity. So what is the line total? Total would be unit price multiplied by the quantity. So you can just use select this cell multiplied by this cell. So automatically you will have the data. And once you drag this for each and every record, you will have the sales data or total for each and every record. So there is a relative referencing by default. So it is not fixed. For example, if you go to the next cell, so automatically it will be B5 multiplied by C5. It's not like it will remain B4 into C4 or something, right? So this is very helpful. Coming to the second point, second is relative referencing. Oh, sorry, this is absolute referencing. In absolute, there is a constant. I mean, there are many times when you don't want a cell reference to change when filling cells. So here you want the sales to change, like numbers to change, right? Unlike relative references, absolute references do not change when copied or filled. So when we are filling this from top to down, the cell references are changing. That is why it is relative. Now we don't want to change. Maybe we want to have a fixed particular cell and then multiplied by the changing cell. You can use an absolute reference to keep a row or a column constant. An absolute reference is designated in a formula by addition of a dollar sign. So once you add the dollar sign in the formula bar, that becomes fixed and that will remain the same. So this is the story of absolute and relative referencing that we will explain in the Excel. Alright, so now understanding absolute and relative references through an example. So taking the same data, I'll take one column as absolute referencing and one I have to take as relative referencing. So what is the difference? I'll show you. For example, I want to populate what is my sales, right, for each and every record. Sales would be number of units sold, this particular selection, multiplied by, you just see the formula bar, E2 multiplied by, multiply symbol is asterisk, multiplied by the product price, K column. So I'll just select this, right? So now this is my sales, right? I'll just click enter. Now you got the sales. Now I want the same for each and every record. So what I can do is I can just expand this for each and every record, and I can get the sales for each and every record. So for example, if I just hover here, see the function formula, it is E3 multiplied by K3, but we created E2 multiplied by K2, right? So now what Excel is doing, it is automatically doing incremental for each and every row. So for example, if I go down, it will be E4 into K4. If I go further down, it will be E5 into K5, then E6 into K6. So automatically this is the default where there is no fixed part. This will automatically increase. If I just expand this till the end, so it will be incremental till the end, right? So if I see E7 into K7, E8, E9, E10, 11, 12, 13. So this is what absolute referencing means. What is relative referencing? For example, if the number of units are this, but the pricing is fixed. Let's say the price is 10, right? So I can have relative referencing. For example, if I multiply number of units sold by this price, enter, right? So this will be 10. If I again do the same, right, it will be 0. Why? Because it is going down. For example, you can see it is E3 multiplied by Q2. Q2 is this cell. Then again going down, it will be E4 into Q3. Again, this is like absolute. Now we have to do it relative referencing. So for that, I have to fix this particular cell, because this is my fixed. For each and every record, the pricing is 10. So what I can do is here, instead of Q1, I'll just take it as function for F4. So my Q1 is fixed with dollar sign. Once you apply dollar, that means it is fixed. So it won't move anywhere. So for example, again selecting F4. For example, if I drag now, it is changing as per the number of units only. So you can see here also it is Q1. If I see all the records, it will be $Q, $1, $Q, $1, and this particular cell is changing. You can see E7, then E8, E9. So this is how it goes. So this is relative referencing. This is useful when you want to fix some cell, and then on that basis you have to derive the outcome. Now here comes a sixth concept, that is if function or nested if function. This is a very good concept, or you can say used in all the languages, you name it, like C++ or now Python or any language. If you are a coder, you need to understand if function, nested if function. These are basics, right? So how to use if function in Excel? First of all, what is if function? If function is one of the most popular functions in Excel, and it allows you to make logical comparisons between a value and what you expect. So according to the outcome you expect, you have to define the conditions, and then you can get the outcome. So for an if statement, you can have two results. Definitely it can be true or it can be false. So if the condition is met, whatever is the criteria, it is met, then answer would be true. If it is not met, then answer will be false. For example, if I apply if function on C2 cell, if C2 is equal to yes, then my outcome should be 1, or if it is false, then outcome should be 2. This will show me if C2 is yes, then return a 1 number, otherwise return a 2. This I'll explain in the example in Excel. So as discussed, if loop is used, or you can say if function, nested if functions are used to derive some outcome on the basis of particular conditions. Let's say I want to have a column which shows me the items which are expensive or not expensive on the basis of one condition, that is, if the price of any item is greater than $20, that means it is expensive, and if it is less than or equal to $20, then it is not expensive. So I'll have one more column here, expensive, yes, comma, no, right? So if it is expensive, it will be shown yes. If it is not, then no. So what I can do is I can have a function equal to if function, bracket open, what is the logical test? If price, this product price is greater than 20, that means anything greater than 20, not including 20, then comma, what is the value? Value if true. If this is true, I want yes, comma, if this is not true, I want no, right? So one mistake here I can see is it should be in double quotes, right? So what it will give me is, if my this column value is greater than $20, then it is expensive. That means it will show me yes, otherwise it will show me no. If I press enter, so you can see this is yes. If I just click here, for each and every record it will show me yes or no according to the condition, right? So here I just want to drag till the end, right? So it will show me till the end. Here this is my if function. If you want to have if there are multiple conditions, then you can use nested if. You can have nested if means you can have if inside another if inside another if. So it is like a loop. All right, now coming to the seventh concept, which is the last concept for this video. It is the applications of SUMIF and SUMIFs, as well as COUNTIF and COUNTIFs. This is a very important concept, even if you are not looking for interviews and all, but if you are working on Excel day in day out, you should know all these concepts. These are very important concepts. This will help you to minimize the workload. How it does? For example, what is SUMIFs function? It is one of the math and trigonometry functions, adds all of its arguments that meet multiple criteria. For example, you would use SUMIFs to sum the number of retailers in the country who reside in a single zip code and whose profit exceeds a specific dollar value. So we have these two conditions. These are the criteria. You can say criteria or conditions, it is fine. So there are two criteria. One is it should reside in single zip code. Second is whose profit exceeds the specific dollar value. So we have to find the sum of all those number of retailers. So you can use SUMIF function. And if in this case, if you want to calculate number of retailers only, not sum, then you can use SUMIF. So this is the syntax of SUMIF. For SUMIFs, first of all, you have to define the sum range, which should be summed, then criteria range 1 and what is the criteria for this range. Then if there are multiple criteria, you can use them. For example, there is another criteria range for this criteria, and you can have criteria range 3 as well, 4, 5, 6, how many criteria you have, you can do that. Alright, so this is how you can create. And now let's go to the Excel table. Now again we are on the Excel sheet and we have to implement something so that we can understand what is SUMIFs and COUNTIFs, right? So for SUMIFs, it is similar to if function, where we need to populate something, the outcome, on the basis of the conditions given. Let's say in this particular example, you want to have sales for 4 or 5 cities. For example, I want to say what is my sales for these 4 cities. Let's say city 1 is Puebla, then Mexicali, then Toluca, then last is Santiago, right? I want to have sales for each and every 4 cities. One option is I'll just go to store city, I'll select Puebla, and whatever is the total sum of this particular column will be my sales. But that is not at all possible with the large data set, and that is also not recommended. So for that matter of fact, what we can do is we can use SUMIF function. So here I'll apply the function of SUMIF, bracket open, then what is the range? So the criteria range is store city. I'll select this, comma, what is my criteria? So I can go up. The criteria is in double quotes, it should be, or you can just select this particular cell. This is my criteria, comma, what is the sum range? Sum range is L column, right? I'll just select this column and bracket closed and enter. You will have the value for this particular city. Again, if you want to have the same sales for each and every city, what you can do is you can repeat the same step, or you can drag this cell function in all these things. First we have to fix this similarly using function F4. Now the ranges are fixed. You can just expand this for all the cities, the values will populate. So this is how you can use the SUMIF function. Alright guys, so these were the 7 important questions or concepts which are really asked in Excel interviews. If you have some doubts or you want to have more concepts on Excel or any other software tool which you feel it is important for you to become a data analyst, then do let me know in the comments below. I will definitely make a video on it, or we can have a one-to-one session where we can discuss on the problem statements. I hope you liked it. If you really like these kind of concepts, please do subscribe. Thanks a lot for watching.